So I'm gonna help you make your content just a little bit better. I'm actually still filming on an iPhone. A few people have still asked how I'm actually filming any of this stuff. Considering that I am doing things on a budget, if anything is worth talking about that I've upgraded, I will show you. All right, so let's talk about the most important thing, and that's audio. Your videos can suck, like the resolution can suck, the phone can suck, but as long as you have clean audio, it helps to actually present yourself a lot better than it actually looks. I think generally just sound has a lot more impact than just keeping things visually appealing. You don't want your audio sounding too cheap either. So right now, I'm actually using the Shure MV7. Now I know what you're thinking. Ryan, why would you invest in something so expensive? You know, this is way too crazy. You're just starting out. It makes no sense. I get it. Just hear me out. Basically, this mic is a great starter mic. You actually get two inputs. You get both the XLR and the USB inputs here. The point of that is if you're just starting out and you get this mic, you can just start with the USB input. That way it's just plug and play, it's super easy to go, and you get the audio gain controls up here, which is basically the amount of noise it just takes in. Once you're ready to actually upgrade, then you move on to the XLR cord, and then that's where you can look into buying the audio box. After so much review, guys, like this came up a lot. It is expensive. Where I'm at right now, it's about like 400 bucks. I did buy it off Facebook Market for about like 150. So I saw the sale and I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get it. If you guys want something budget, just find it off Facebook Market. This mic is the baby of the super popular SM7B. Basically every podcaster uses, all the professional ones. That one is expensive, so I'd stay away from that one for now, for sure. I know I just started, but I've gone through about like 5 mics. I bought so many different ones. My first one, for some reason, came broken, so I had to return that one, which is the one you saw in my first video. And that one was from the Hyperx brand, and they're really cool looking, guys. Like they have all the lights and everything and all the audio controls. The only problem, using these mics, you need a Windows computer. Now you can have a Mac. The application it comes with that you can download to control all of that stuff, none of that will be accessible in a Mac. You actually need a Windows. Now you could also get Blue Series. Those mics are really good too. The only thing is, personally, I'm not too into the style. Like I still wanted something a little bit more simple and sleek. It's just not my thing too much. So if you guys want it, get it. There's also the Yeti Orb that actually works really well too. It's super cheap. Maybe that's not the style you're going for. You could get what's called a lavalier, and that's the one that hangs on your shirt here. So DJI offers ones that are like Bluetooth and they can connect with your phone directly. It's pretty cool, guys. You just kind of hang it here as well, and it sounds really great. Now the Rhode brand offers a variety of different ones as well, but the one I would really stick with is a little one that looks like a tiny microphone, and that one sticks here. That one's really good, guys. And you can also get the one that's like a little square. That one also works really well. I've seen a lot of podcasters use that, and everyone talks about it all the time. If you're the kind of person that doesn't like to be just in an office, you like to kind of step outside and everything, get any lavalier, really. Let's talk about lighting. I actually very luckily got these free lights. I don't think they're meant to do what I'm using them to do right now. They're basically like, I'll show you guys. If I can show you right there. And on Amazon, I think they're about 100 bucks, 120. I wouldn't suggest them, to be honest. What you do want is a light that's super soft, like something with a soft box. And guys, you can find them really cheap on Amazon and Facebook Market. Like I've seen some that go for about 20, 30 bucks. So I highly suggest sticking with those because those give a nice soft light on your face apparently. And these ones I think hit my face a little bit more harsh. It works, and I'm just gonna stick with it for now. Now in terms of the lighting setup, what I would suggest and what I've seen other people do is they have one light in front of me, but a little bit more to the side, and that helps to kind of just shine your face, right? It's called your key light. Then you have the hair light, which is up here, which is the one I just showed you. It's supposed to be super tall and just kind of hit you from the head, but still at an angle. So what that does is it helps you to kind of stand out from the background. What it's supposed to do is kind of shine your head and everything. I do keep it quite dim because my place is a little bit small, so I don't want too much light to brighten up the place. I do have another light right here, and you guys can use anything for that. Just dim it more than this one, than the key light, because it's supposed to help balance out the contrast between your face, and then that way you look as good as me. And I know a lot of you might not have all this lighting equipment, all that stuff. You just need one light, really. Just have one that can kind of face you from the side here. You can even put on a table or a chair or something. Just have like a lamp. Try to aim for something that is more white though, so that you have a bit more of a natural look. Now you guys, I will talk about the camera in the last little bit, so just stick with me. I'll get there. Now in terms of the lighting in the back, what I do is I just use like a simple lamp right here. That helps to kind of pull me out of the background as well. It also puts a little bit of a shine. Now I think it's a little harsh right now, honestly. I'll fix it in the future. So I also have another light that it's just a LED light. It's kind of hanging at the bottom there and it shines up. And I change the color to whatever I want so I can change the scenery a little bit. Point is, guys, make the background represent you. don't let it be so boring. Make it interesting to look at you, because your looks aren't going to be enough, guys. I'm sorry, but you want something a little bit more than just your looks, right? Like you want a bit more appeal to everything around you as well, right? So if you're filming in your living room, for example, capture a little bit of that living room. If you have a nice living room, if you don't, maybe stay away from that part. You can decorate it. You can put plants. Plants really help keep things alive. So use that as well. Put some books, make it look like you read, even though you don't. You can have posters, you know, artwork, just make it look like you. And also appeal to your audience as well, right? So if you're a car salesman, for example, making content, you might want to have some sort of car stuff, you know, it just makes sense of it. What I've seen people also do with their awards in the back or certificates, stuff like that, you look kind of official that way too. Just don't overdo it. Now, in terms of what I talk about, don't go in blind. You want to actually kind of plan out what you have to say. So this is where scripting comes in, and you don't need to go too crazy with it. Just have something where you can write like small spark notes, bullet points, all that kind of stuff. I use my iPad, it's just sitting right here. And then I'll just kind of like take a moment to read what I'm about to say first. And then I look back, I start talking, and then I stop, read again. Okay, I gotta say that, say it here. I do feel though, it's nice to kind of wing it a little bit. It helps keep things more natural. And don't be afraid to mess up a million times, because you can always cut that stuff out. You have no idea how many times I repeated that intro. As far as editing, I do use Premiere Pro, but just stick with something like CapCut, and you can just use that to quickly edit your videos. They have all the trending sounds, transitions, everything you guys need. All right, so the camera. I am using an iPhone 15 Pro Max. You guys could use whatever you want. Just make sure you actually have the right settings, because there are so many things that people don't look into before they purchase the phone or even after. I'm going to tell you just the basics right now, and then I'll show you on my iPhone how I do it in case any of you are running with an iPhone. So if you're creating content for social media, you want to stick with anything that's HD and 30 frames per second. You could go down to 24. It's not going to make such a massive difference, but most social media apps only allow for HD. The best thing you could do for good footage, really get your lighting in place, right? Like get your background in check, get everything you need to actually make your environment stand out. And the camera will just be an additive. You won't have to do much editing, and it won't really matter what camera you're using either. Now, if you're taking pictures for like social media, just know that pretty much all of them do reduce the quality of it. But again, same rule applies, guys. If you can get the right lighting, if you can get the right environment, things are going to look good no matter what. Now, if you're filming for YouTube or anything else that supports 4K, you'll definitely want to do 4K 30 frames per second. You can even go 60 if you want. Just know that the higher quality you get, the bigger the file size. So just keep that in mind when you're recording. But the thing is, for YouTube, I've heard already that it actually favors content that is at high quality. So if you're uploading 4K footage, it might help you to get ranked higher. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I'm doing it anyways. I'm just going to quickly show you guys what I do to adjust my settings for an iPhone. So this is just for an older iPhone. So if you go to settings, then go down to camera and then formats. I would keep the formats at most compatible. That helps keep things at the highest quality. If you choose most compatible, you'll be able to use all the high quality settings. So just keep that in mind. If you go to record, this is where you can record 4K footage. Basically what you want to do is choose either 4K 30. If you're using YouTube, all that kind of stuff. You could go down to 1080p 30 frames per second, so that's a really good one. Don't use this. 720p is going to be too low. Stick with 1080 HD. That's really good. So again, social media, 1080p, 30 FPS. If you're doing things for like YouTube and want the highest quality available, then 4K at 30 is going to be really good. Just again, keep in mind the file size is going to be massive. And then you could keep slow-mo at 1080 as well if you want to keep a higher slow-mo rate, but most people don't really record in slow-mo, so I'll leave that out. So preserve settings. If you want the camera to actually remember where you left the settings at, you can turn these on. Also, guys, this is where you can adjust that annoying live photo thing, so that'll help. The other thing I would do is turn on the grid. I use that all the time. This helps keep you in center. Just so you guys know, I am using a Mac and an Apple phone. So what I do is I actually go here and I click this button here, screen mirroring, and I just mirror my phone to my Mac, and I'll be able to see myself. Turn on Smart HDR, which will help with the exposure settings. If you want more control, maybe turn it off, but for the usual person out there, keep it on. So you guys, I actually swapped my phone out. That way I can show you guys how I adjust my settings on my iPhone 15 Pro Max. So the audio is gonna really suck right now, but it's all good. So here's what I do. You scroll down to same thing, camera. Your record settings, I have mine at 4K 30 because I do film for YouTube. So I just wanna keep things a little bit higher. I keep enhanced stabilization on. You can keep the settings as I have them right now. I would lock camera, guys, because that'll make sure that it doesn't zoom in and out depending on how you're moving. So really make sure that that's checked off, because again, guys, the cameras in the back, not all of them are the same resolution. So usually the camera that opens up right away, that's usually the highest resolution one on a phone. So just make sure you understand which one you're filming from and try not to zoom in and out of it too much. Just keep it at exactly the length it's at. And when you're editing your video, that's where you can do more of the zoom in and zoom out. But if I were you, yourself closer to the subject or out from the subject. That way you don't have to mess around too much with editing. You can lock white balance so it doesn't mess around with the white balance as well. Record slow-mo, I'll skip that. I do prefer to record in cinematic mode because that'll help blur out the background. Most phones don't have blur ability because they're not advanced enough to, I guess, play with the aperture. So this will really help. It's kind of like a fake aperture, I think. Now, formats, I would keep it at most compatible. The photo, keep it at 24 megapixels. That's the highest resolution. I keep my ProRes control on, but you guys don't need that unless you want to color grade and take control of everything yourself. You can also have Apple ProRes for video, which is kind of similar to ProRes, which is for photo. And this will also help give you more control. I keep it on. You guys don't need it on if you don't know what you're doing with color grading. Now, preserve settings is the same thing if you want to lock settings and everything and make sure your camera remembers them. I turn on the grid, and you can also have the level. This will help know if your camera is properly leveled in frame. And let's see here. Oh, main camera. So this is actually where you can see which camera is being used as a default lens. The 24mm camera is the highest quality from my understanding. So I check that one. And you can check these two on as well in case you want them available if you don't want them. And then you can keep all these on as well if you guys want. So you guys, that's all I got. And again, as I upgrade things, I'm going to keep you guys informed. So yeah, like the video, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you.